Live again, people. Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. It means the world. Thank you very much to the people that were obviously tuned into the last live stream. If you weren't involved in that one, go and check that one out after this. Please make sure you hit the like button on entry. It means a lot, man. It really means a lot. We had a good little stream earlier. We spoke about Arteta. Well, I spoke about Arteta. I spoke about Saliba. We spoke about Shabozlai. We spoke about Buendia. We spoke about a lot of people. But now we need to focus on Arsenal versus Rapid Vienna. You know, I know we've got Spurs on Sunday, and I'm scared about that game as well, admittedly, people. But we need to respect the opposition we're playing. We've got 2 games this week. We need to focus first and foremost on what's in front of us. And that is obviously Rapid Vienna. Now, on the face of it, I guard against complacency, but there is every reason for complacency or a less of urgency. You know, we've confirmed qualification from the Europa League. We've done it perfectly. Yeah, in some games we've made it harder than it needs to be, but we've won all the games. I want to see that continue. You know, obviously for me, our players are dropping like flies. We've got a lot of injuries. Can we rest some players on Thursday? Can we get over the line and rest players in relation to the game on Sunday in the North London derby? There's a lot of rumours Harry Kane won't be involved and there'll be no Kane, and the rest of it, we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. But in relation to this game, I want to see us turn up. I want to see us score goals. We're obviously playing in front of the fans, which we haven't been able to say. So give the fans something. I know it's not the same, but Arteta done a lot of talking in relation to we need the fans back. He wants the fans back and the rest of it. Now you've got them. If the fans were obviously in the games for our last couple of Premier League games, it might not have been nice, but it is what it is in that regards, people. So yeah, like I said, big up to everyone in the live chat. Big up to everyone that was in this that's newly arrived and might be following me for the first time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Please check out the pinned message, people, because my next live stream, or my next planned live stream, better yet, will be Arsenal versus Rapid Vienna. It'll be a watch along from 7 p.m. tomorrow UK time. So make sure you make sure your finger you've slapped on your reminder and you've done the rest of it. It's been a bit of a dream, people, because big up everybody locked in at the moment, but we've got 3 new members. Please make sure you're checking out the YouTube memberships as well. Thank you very much for doing that, Abu. Means the world. Adrian Jacobs, you know, you've been a consistent viewer of mine for a while now. I always see you in the comments and the live chats and things. I appreciate you all. Addicted to phones, big up yourself. Honest to God, from the bottom of my heart, it means the world that you lot have decided to depart with your finances and do that for me. It means the world, people, and I'll continue to keep doing what I can, better in the service, obviously changing the memberships as well and providing you lot with more content that works, unless that doesn't. Either way, thank you very much for departing with your hard-earned money. Big up yourself, Ollie. You don't even support Arsenal, so you're just supporting the thing. It means a lot, Ollie. Jay Woke, you was in the last live chat and you're here again. Means a lot. I'm there, my guy. I hope you and everybody else listening right now to me are also in good spirits, people. Thank you very much. I'm going extra hard. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'd say it's the things you lot don't see. You see their videos, but you don't see me staying up all heap at night, always looking, how can I make more people see my vids? How can I tag the things better? What can I do to keep improving? And you know, that's what it is, man. So it is what it is. It really means a lot that you lot see the little improvement and you recognize where you can. Thank you very much. Big up Jack as well. You know, man, big up Wayne again. I know you're out there in America, and you was just waking up to my first live stream. I'd like to imagine you're in full swing of things now. So big up yourselves, people. Big up yourself. Big up everybody locked in. I'm missing somebody else out. Live from Planet X, another member, 1 a.m. but can't miss both live streams today. Get some sleep, bro. The good thing is it might not be live, but it remains on YouTube. And I know you're out there in Australia, and you listen. You as well, man. Your support. Some of you lot's messages, you honestly don't have a clue. There's been some real dark times, and just seeing a little message from you lot has kept a guy going, man. You know, so it means a lot. You know, 1 a.m. gang. He is a legend. He is a legend. Jay Woke, like you said, I want to see a performance from Pepe and the rest of the boys, and I think that sets us up to get straight into it. Now, once again, it's Arsenal versus Rapid Vienna. We've qualified from our group, but every game is tough. I know there's going to be rotation. In fact, I'm hoping there's rotation because players are dropping like flies. But this is a team that have done quite well. You know, when they last played us, did we not need 2 goals in the last 20 minutes or so? I think David Luiz and Aubameyang to get over them. They showed us up their place. They're a difficult outfit. So they, like Mulder should have thought, Arsenal are overrated. And obviously, depending on what happens in the Mulder game, I can't expect a miracle from Dundalk, but football is for shockers. If, and again, ifs and buts don't mean anything, but if Rapid Vienna beat us, they're on 9 points. I'm sure that and depending on what happens in the next game, they go second. So there's plenty of reason for Rapid Vienna to want to turn up, to want to be a difficult outfit, to want to cause problems to us, people, simply put. So we can't take them for granted. We cannot afford to take our foot off the gas. And it weren't like it was relevant because we won on Thursday and lost last Sunday. Can we take a bit of momentum going into that North London derby again? Spurs fans will tell you form goes out the window. It wouldn't shock me in that Arsenal have been woeful. We then go and beat Spurs. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you know, you can't look beyond the Spurs win. They're playing well. There's togetherness. Arsenal are fractured. So if we can get any sort of feel-good factor, any bit of galvanization, any good feeling going into that game, we need to get into this one. You know, there's plenty of reason. Hopefully, we see a good performance because I want to see the young players start. We'll get into that a bit in a sec. Obviously, I'd like to see Pepe start again. This is the only competition right now he's going to get minutes in. So I'm sure I could be wrong, but isn't Pepe's ban over once he serves the North London derby, to which he's back to help us really and truly. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Look at that dedication. Emma said, I got to hit the shops, but I'm going to be listening. Keep supporting. Keep the support going, guys. Thank you very much, Em, man. It means a lot that you're doing that, you know. And a lot of you, again, I've seen you in both live streams. It means the world that you have both done that, or you've all done that. And the 2 people I've spoken about specifically. But getting into this game, people, like I said, we can't forget the fact that this game was very tough. We can't forget the fact that David Luiz and Aubameyang saved us. Like I said, a win takes them 9 points if Mulder don't take points. So they're going to want to be at it. I'm sure they don't want their European adventure to end, you know. Obviously, since losing to us, they obviously scored a lot of goals. I looked on their last fixtures. I'm not going to act like I'm watching them consistently and whatnot. But they've only failed to score once in their last 9 games. They've only had 1 defeat in their last 5. And looking at it, they even earned a point of Salzburg, who are in the Champions League. So we'll have to see. Thank you for reminding me, people. You know, see, this is why I asked the question. So he's got 2 more games. So he's out of the Burnley game. So yeah, man, Pepe, again, he just has to do up Europa League, I guess. And again, for me, I want to see players rested. I don't want us to take the foot off the gas, but I want to see players rested because I don't rate Xhaka right now. Ceballos is moving mad and Joe Willock isn't necessarily taking his chances. But due to injuries and whatnot, they've had to play a hell of amount of football. So I do think one of the 3 will at least start and they'll all play some part in the game. But we probably have to manage them because we can't afford any more injuries. I also want to see as well, no injuries, please. You know, we walked away from that plastic pitch last week relatively all right. I know there was heart and mouth moments with David Luiz. He came over that, and David Luiz will play no part on Thursday, obviously off the back of what happened against Wolves as well. He'll have no chance of playing tomorrow, and he'll firmly be involved, if anything, against Spurs. In fact, I think he should be. So yeah, man, what can I, for me, it's the same old. Qualification is there. I want to see the young players. I want to see players that don't get too much football. Can you go and show something? Can you go and play your way into the plans? And just by looking at you lot, you've all got, you know, TW, Balogun, that's me. I don't want to spoil it, but when we get to talking about the lineup, I want to see a Balogun start. I don't think we are, but I want to see a Balogun start. You know, I would like to see Miguel Aziz make his debut. You know, and for me, I would like to see the young players play because it will be a big test for them at the Emirates against a side in good form, against a side that can score goals, and against a side that out of all the games so far in Europa League, they've given us the hardest task. You look at Saka, you know Saka's played well against many big teams now, but it all started for him against in the Europa League. And remember that one game he really stood out against Frankfurt. This is the breathing place. I want to see Smith Rowe get opportunities. I don't think he was in the squad per se in our last game, but you saw him after the game doing the runs and whatnot. I want to see him. I want to see Balogun, especially with the contract stuff. Who else is there? Would love to see Miguel Aziz, Ben Cottrell, you know, all of these guys make their debuts and play and whatnot and get a taste of things. So like you said, I want to see the youth. So but at the same time, it's the fans' first game back at the stadium. Play a good side and give the fans something to speak about. That's something I went with in one of my lineups. Nelson, Balogun, Pepe. Rion has said, I like Saka, but I admit sometimes he misses easy chances. Of course, Saka misses some silly chances sometimes, but, you know, he's a young man. He's got to improve, of course, but I've got more time for him, and I'm sure you do as well, man. That's it. You know, a good performance. At least, you know, I wanted to see Balogun on the bench against Wolves. I would still like to see him on the bench against Spurs. And you have to feel for someone like Balogun, because imagine if the league just listened and went with 5 subs, him and a couple more other young players, both at Arsenal and elsewhere, would have got some significant game time and could have really developed elsewhere and done their thing and been utilised, because there is 5 substitutions. So it is what it is, people. I just want to see us get over the line, man. In relation to the lineup, I've gone with 2 lineups, people. If we are to go with a back 3, I've gone with a 3-4-3 of Runarsson in goal, Mustafi, Callum Chambers, and I'm not too sure on Pablo Mari's fitness, but considering he played in the under-23s game, he hasn't been able to buy a start or buy any significant game time. Now is your opportunity. I'd understand if he went with a Kolasinac at centre-half and then he pulled Maitland-Niles over to the left and he brought Cedric in on the right. I could understand that. And admittedly, I forgot about Cedric as well, because you know, you probably will see Kolasinac at centre half and then Cedric and Thingy moved in. I don't think Marie will play any part. But my first lineup was Runarsson, Mustafi, Callum Chambers, Paulo Marie, Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac on either side of the flanks, people. In midfield, I went with El Nene and Xhaka. You know, El Nene, for me, I'm trying to get 60 minutes out of him. You know, he missed a couple of games now with Corona. Just give him a little 60 minutes in the engine, get him ticking again, get any short-term ring rust out. And then for me, El Nene's firmly in my thinking for the Spurs game. I hope Partey is back. We hear he's out for 6 weeks, and then I'm hearing Arteta play Koi. I want to see El Nene personally. So he'll get 60 minutes. Xhaka is by design. You know, I think Joe Willock does look a bit fatigued and needs to be taken out of the lineup. Admittedly, if I have to be pushed, I'd go with El Nene and Ceballos at the weekend. So Ceballos would play no part from the start for me. So that's my thinking behind it. Obviously, Partey is injured. Up front, you've got Reiss Nelson. He deserves to start. I think he deserves to start against Spurs, but this will be where he gets his start. Well, you know what? Reiss Nelson on the left, Pepe on the right. I've gone with Balogun through the middle. I don't think Lacazette or Eddie and Nketiah covered themselves with any blades of glory in their last Europa League game. Both really didn't. Well, Laka got 10 minutes or so against Wolves, if that. And obviously, Eddie played no part, if I can remember correctly. So both of them probably want to start. You know, in the last game, we played 4-4-2. It's like what Shamar is saying. You could go with, you know, you got Balogun and Eddie up front. You could go with Nelson on the right. You can go with Nelson on the right. And obviously, you can go with somebody else on the left, Nelson on the left, Pepe on the right, sort of thing. You could do that. You really could do that. What's you lot's formations? I think Balogun's knocking on the door as well. He weren't involved in the under-23s game on Friday. I don't know if there's injuries or whatnot. He didn't play against Wolves, so he must be knocking on the door. So we'll have to see what happens. Martinelli is not fit, but encouragingly, you know, he'll get a game before the end of the year. He's targeting playing for the 23s before the end of the year. I really want to see him back. I badly miss seeing Martinelli, but for me, people, let's get it right with him. It seems like we've got it right. You know, we're doing his rehab, but let's get it right. He's a young, talented man. You know, at this football club, we've seen players obviously stagnate due to injuries and have niggling injuries and whatnot. That is poor from me, Yowen, and that's why you'll remember I completely forgot he got sent off in the last game. So, of course, he could play no part against Derby. Energetic DG, should Aubameyang play tomorrow since he's in poor form? I don't think Aubameyang should feature. I want to save his legs going into the Spurs game. Hopefully, that's the game where he gets back to goal-scoring ways. And whatnot. My second lineup, people, if I could, and it would be a 4 at the back, Runarsson in goal, Maitland-Niles at right back, Mustafi at centre half, Marie/Chambers, you know, who's ever fit in defence as well, Kolasinac there on the left-hand side for me. In midfield, Xhaka and El Nene, Smith Rowe in that sort of 10 position, the Joe Willock role. Up front, again, Balogun, Pepe and Reiss Nelson. I don't think Balogun is going to start. I think it will be one of Laka and Eddie. I'm not too sure if Smith Rowe will start either, but that's what I would like to see. Before we get into it, apparently Chambers won't be available. What are your thoughts on a makeshift midfield role for Chambers? He won Player of the Year whilst playing there. Well, the way we're playing, you know, and with injuries to Partey and El Nene and stuff, I guess through necessity, you'd have to use him. But for me, it's a centre half thing, or this sort of jack of all trades thing, squad thing, or nothing. I don't really want to see Callum Chambers in our midfield. You could utilize it and use it, and like you said, he did well there. But we sent him there to play at centre half, and he didn't. So yeah. Specifically, getting into Arteta, he's given a lengthy press conference, people, and he's spoken first and foremost about David Luiz, to which he has said he's feeling fine. Obviously, he had a really nasty cut, but they kept monitoring him and checking him, and he was absolutely fine. We made a statement to clarify the situation. Some people can have the perception of whether he should have continued or not. Thankfully, we have one of our leading authorities in this country, which is Gary O'Driscoll, our doctor, who has massive experience in not only football, but rugby as well. And he knows exactly what to do. He did all the testing, he followed all the protocols, and we were very comfortable for him to carry on playing. But really, you have to make the decision in 1 minute when someone is bleeding, when you have a massive concussion next to you with someone whose life is under threat. And maybe it is a moment where you can think to give these people a little bit more time and use a temporary substitution, for example. And that's true. And it goes back to what I say, people, in the sense of not that it's unethic, but how much can you really make the right decision over someone's health when man are just really thinking about 3 points? Really, that goes for the manager, that goes for the linesman, that goes for everybody connected and whatnot. So has to see. You know, maybe they need to introduce a temporary sub, or maybe Arsenal should have just nipped it in the bud and substituted him. You know, it's a bit like, it's different, but Partey's injury came off at half time. To the fans, were being told Partey's missing out on 6 weeks. How much could have we shaved off that being out period if we just subbed him when we're supposed to, or in the build up to that? Because these things don't just happen overnight. Not going to keep going on about the David Luiz thing, apart from I think he'll be fit to play if the scar is healing properly and he is comfortable heading the ball. This is in relation to playing against Spurs. He spoke about how excited he is to have the fans back. He said it's going to be extraordinary to have them back. It will feel strange. The club has done amazing work to facilitate everyone at short notice to be able to attend the stadium, and I'm sure it will work really well. I'm feeling sorry as well for thousands of fans that I'm sure would like to make it but can't be there. On whether there could be more fans in a couple of months, he more or less said what he could say, and that I don't know. He was asked a lot of irrelevant things, and when you get down to the bulk of it, he was then pressed on our lack of form. He said, well, I am really worried with those results and the margins that we are losing games. When we analyze the games afterwards, why we are losing these football games when they are so tight, there's a reason that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. We need to recover that. Sometimes it's a lack of confidence in certain moments. We concede that we've probably not hit our standards, and obviously the goals we need to score to win the football matches more consistently. When you compare what Wolves did and what we did in a normal situation, we should not lose that game, and that's where I have a disagreement. Second half, there was a more of a fight back, but let's be serious, man. We weren't really in that game, you know. On our lack of goals, he said, well, there are many factors. If you compare the Premier League with the Europa League, it is different. If you look in last few years, how the team has shared the goals in the Premier League, it's been quite limited. That's not an issue that is happening now. It's an issue that's been happening for years that has to be resolved. And that's true. We have not been scoring enough. To put almost 80% of that responsibility on one man is not fair. And again, we rely too much on Aubameyang. In the same way, we're starting to rely too much on Gabriel to defend, and we're looking at Partey to change everything defensively. This is what I've been saying, in that we can't rely on just one man to change things. We need to be, there shouldn't be a massive drop off when Partey isn't playing, Aubameyang isn't scoring, or Gabriel is missing. And it doesn't, in isolation, he's not saying wrong things, but it's just like, it's not making sense, really and truly. And it is true, you can't rely on Aubameyang. He said, as a team, we have to resolve that. As a team, we get into a lot of situations, and sometimes the service is not right. Sometimes the timing is not right. Sometimes the last execution is not right. But as a team, there are certain things that we have to do better, and the players have to do it and show confidence. But this is all the result of a training ground. If you're talking about the final ball, lack of chance creation, lack of sharing goals, obviously a bit of it's down to personnel. But a part of it is down to the lack of coaching or the lack of attacking-centric coaching, which I think Arteta has to take responsibility for. Because again, people can say we ain't got the right players, we ain't got this, we ain't got that, we ain't got the third. Go and look at some teams who have scored more than us. Do they necessarily have better strikers than us or whatever? Do you get what I'm saying, people? So yeah, man, moving away from that, he said, it's coming from a long way. We've been winning football matches, producing similar numbers, but we've been very effective. That sometimes is a state of energy, a state of mind, a state of confidence that you're doing everything right. When it gets to the moment you hit the ball and it doesn't hit the post, and if it does hit the post, it goes in. That's the difference. Football in the end is about cohesion and energy and belief of the team. When you lose games, that gets touched, and that's one of the beauties of this sport, how we react against that adversity. And all of this is fine. The players need to stand up to be counted, but a lot of this is things, Arteta, that you can fix. I know they've been long-lasting, but these are things that you can fix, really, or show more of a willingness to fix. And I think regardless of that, he's invented his own problems. On how we're going to spread around the goals throughout the team, he said, I never think about the future in a positive way. In a negative way, apologies. I try to work as hard as possible I can to believe that it is good to get changed tomorrow. I think it's the first time in the Premier League that we produced 33 crosses. I'm telling you, if we do that more consistently, we're going to score more goals. If we put the bodies that we had in certain moments during that game in the match, it's maths, pure maths, it will happen. It's about how consistently we do that, with what level of quality. We'll keep trying to do that, don't worry. And I hear a lot of ifs. I hear a lot of ifs. I can only deal with the facts that we haven't. You know, we did produce a lot of crosses, but was that out of desperation? Because Aubameyang's crossing the ball once again in the last minute of the game. We produced 33 crosses. How many of them actually hit a man? In fact, I'm pretty sure, courtesy of the Twitter account Orbino, who is an Arsenal sort of centric account, and I think he works for Opta. You know, if we look at the maths with that, people, Arsenal actually attempted 35 against Wolves, the most in any game under Arteta, but we've completed just 3. Now, I understand that obviously one led to a goal. I understand that, you know, we crossed more. I get that. But why are we crossing more from open play and actually not crossing from a set piece, from a corner? You know, we're playing it short. This tells me desperation, lack of ideas. There's no real invention. There's no real intention. This is all just trying things, you know. Again, obviously, if this is the first time you've really crossed, then again, the numbers aren't going to be too kind, but completed just 3. One of them was a goal where it is what it is, man. And like Maverick said, you know, it means nothing. You need intention. You know, this is like changing to 4 at the back. You can put 4 at the back, but you need intention. You can't just change to a back 4 and suddenly every player goes, oh, listen, we need to go forward. We need to do this and that. They should, but it's not just down to them. So yeah, he's right though. We got to keep trying. We got to keep doing. And he said on what he expects, on the differences he expects from the first game, obviously the first week, he said nothing different. I think we know each other much better now after the first game, where we had periods where we had difficulties in attack. The way they set up, I saw a really committed team, really going into every challenge, really focused. They were hard to beat. They went ahead after we conceded a goal, and the team had a really good reaction after that. So they need to win. And I'm expecting that they come here with the aim to make it difficult and to come here and try to win again, which, you know, they should be believing they can win. He was then asked on whether the Europa League will be treated differently. He said, we've been really consistent in other competitions apart from the Premier League. I think we played 16 competitive games and we've won 10, lost 5 and drawn 1. All of them in the Premier League. And I get that when you look at it, you can find positives, but the league is the bread and butter for me personally, people. The league is 38 games. That's more consistency. That's where you get to see what your team's really about. Yeah, we look good in isolated moments where you beat United, where you claim an FA Cup and things, and I'm not belittling that, but that highlights the consistent issue. You know, consistently we have a problem. You know, 38 games, there's no hiding place. You firmly see the level of the manager, what he's doing right and wrong, and equally the players. He also said, we cannot treat any game differently. We go there tomorrow with a really bad taste for losing the game against Wolves, and we have to put it right. The best way to do it is to be at your best level and win football matches. And I can't take anything away from what he said. Moving away from that, on what he thinks he's learned from Sunday, he said, I think there are certain things in this sport that are inevitable. So that clash, hopefully, but not the probabilities that it happens. I don't know to what extent, how we can avoid that. I think it's almost impossible. There are so many unpredictable things that can happen when you have 22 players running in different directions, fighting for the ball. Again, I insist with the protocols and with everything that we did in terms of testing and trying to protect the players straight away. You can see the assistants in the stadium, how quickly they went to look after Raul. So again, he carried on in that vein. I'm not going to continue with that. But again, he said nothing but facts in relation to concussion. In relation to Thomas Partey, he said he's been training separately in the last week or so, and we have to scan him again to see how he's feeling. He's a player that is so willing, that is pushing every day, and he wants to do it. At the same time, we have to protect him and make sure when he gets back in the team, he is ready to do that. And whatever extent of minutes we can use him. So it's going to be crucial with the moment he starts to train with the team to see how he is feeling and he's evolving day to day. Now, this tells me that, Partey wants to put his body on the line, but maybe Arsenal are wrapping him in cotton wool. Let's hope that he's over his injury for Sunday, because I'm not really understanding it, really, but let's see it. 1 minute he's training by himself, then he's not about for 6 weeks. He was then asked on Partey if he could be involved on Sunday. He said, "We don't know again," and that's telling. That means he probably can if fitness permits, because we were told 6 weeks. We were told he's definitely out for the next few weeks. Again, a bit of that might be playing coy. Maybe Partey isn't actually having any chance of playing, but there's a lot of mind games. There's a lot of talk of Kane not being involved. This guy, that guy. We'll have to see what happens, people. He said, "We don't know again." He said he's really pushing every day and he's trying to get around the doctor and physios, but he hasn't trained with the team yet. So let's see this week if he can get a session or two, then assess him. We need to scan him again so we can see the extent of the injury and how it's healed. I know if it was up to Thomas, then he wants to play tomorrow. We have to see medically that he's safe to participate at all. He was asked on whether he feels obliged to name a stronger lineup with the fans there. He said, "I think honestly, with the names, at the end of the day, we're going to play players that we believe can perform at the level that is required in this competition. Obviously, we have a massive game on Sunday, but we need to get back from a defeat as well. And it's really important to not just to respect the fans who are here, but for the team we represent, we need to give a really good performance and we have to win." He was then pressed on Callum Chambers, people, and he said he's evolving really well. He's played some minutes with the under-23s in recent weeks. It's been a really long injury, and you know that injuries like that will take a long time to get your body your biometrics completely natural to compete. But I will say now he's very close to returning to play. So I thought about Callum Chambers. I put Callum Chambers in my lineup if fit, but again, he might not be fit enough for first team football, a consistent 90 minutes in which he might not be. He was asked if he was impressed with him. He said he got injured against Chelsea, if I remember correctly, and he was starting that game. He was having a really good game. I think his performances were much more stable. He was growing in confidence. He matured a lot from his spells on loan at different clubs. Then he's also a fantastic character. He went through the injury in an incredible way. Everyone that's involved with him during the rehab, during training, says incredible things about him. He's such a nice guy, a great character to have around, and a player we can utilize in different positions, which is helpful for any squad. We want to have him back, and I think he's very close. He was then asked on playing a back 3 or 4. He said the discussion between the back 4 and 3 depends on the phase of play and whether we are in one formation or another with the same players. We can play in one way or another. I understand your question, and I think it depends a bit on the opponent, how they set up and what they do and what their strengths are, where we can get caught and where we can hurt them. But it doesn't really change much from 5 to 4. There's only one phase where we change something. The rest is always the same. And again, it's probably in the attacking phase. He was then further pressed on, I'm not going to answer it, but players and the ability to play in different ways. And he said, he talked up Chambers again. He said, even with Chambers playing in the back 4 as a right back, if you want to use him in a back 3 to do certain things, he's very comfortable in that area. You get some height and you get other characteristics that are different to Hector or Cedric in that position. It depends. The player has to be in a position they're comfortable with, so that they can play to their maximum. He was then asked on Lacazette playing deeper. He said, we wanted to play our team, so we had 2 strikers. A way to do it with the qualities of Eddie and Laka was to drop Laka a bit deeper in some situations. It's something he's very comfortable doing. While Eddie's more of a pure 9, it's something we can use as well in the present and future. He was then asked on whether he's spoken to the team about his process after a recent run of form. And this is a lengthy one, people, in which I'm going to have to actually separate the paragraphs because I can't make out. Apologies. I think I've done it now. Nope. Apologies, people. Allow me. It's a long one. Let's start. He said, Our process has to be reviewed constantly with what you do, with what we're trying to achieve, why things are working and why they're not, or if things are working, why the results are not working. I think if you focus on just one thing, you can get carried away and not just look from the focus that is needed. I was certain that we would have moments of adversity, and they are necessary. You learn a lot from moments of adversity. The challenge in a moment of adversity in this industry is how you react to them, something I've spoken about in my videos and something you guys know already. You can become impatient and get frustrated. When you share that frustration, it obviously brings a lack of confidence. So that tells you where our squad is at the moment. He said, for me, the dream is that I, with the love that I have for this football club, is to achieve the level that this club deserves and build a project. But believe me, it takes time. And this is not a month or 3 months. This is time and time and time, and a lot of good decisions and a lot of support. So again, people above him make the right decisions and make the right support. Arteta, you have to throw yourself into that. And also, he went on to say, this is where we are, and I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight all the way through because I believe that we can do it. We are going through difficult periods. We will see who responds, who doesn't, and how we react as a club. And that tells you, you know, who's going to stand up to, what players are going to stand up to be counted, who is going to curl into a ball, and who is going to accept it. All the ones that have weak mentality and not with the cause, no matter who they are, they need to depart, people. You know, and he went on to talk about, you know, how easy it is to stick together when things are going right, and how hard it is when it's going wrong. So we're going to have to see. The players still believe in him. You know, football can be lost, but I think if you listen to the way they speak and the way they play, I still think well, not necessarily play, but I don't think he's lost them yet, but he can lose them in the near future. We've shown what has happened against certain teams over the past 5 years, what we've been doing against teams in the last 12 months, but it's not because of me or something easy. It's because of the belief, the truth, and the response that every player had in their reaction. It's no surprise that we can compete against any team, but our reality today is that we can lose against any team. Now, Wolves, with what they did, won against us. It happened the same against Leicester with fine margin, and who deserves it more or less. At the end of the day, we lost, and there are certain things that have to be corrected straight away, but some things take time. And that desire, that work ethic, that game management, they can all be fixed straight away. They can. But let's see. I've spoke about already. He spoke about Martinelli as well about how positive he will be. And he spoke about the need for patience, because he said time is the key word in this industry, and nobody's going to give you time. Manager ain't getting time. Young players ain't getting time. No one's getting time. Aubameyang ain't getting time. He's been scoring for years. You know, the minute he's not scored, I'm not saying he shouldn't be facing questions, but there's problems. He said, the moment the ball doesn't go in the net and you lose a football match, you're going to question all the rest. So with Gabby, it's the same. Now he needs time. He's done it for a period and in certain moments throughout the game, but consistently for 3 years, 2 or 1, he's never done it. I'm sorry, he's never done it. So we cannot put that pressure on him. It's like with Bukayo and other young players that we have. They've never done it in their career. So how do you expect them to do it today? And in which environment, in which context? Patience. But he's a positive guy to have back on the team because he's such a character. He also said Gabby's another one that even in a moment of adversity, you see him training and everything he brings to the team. His energy, his passion, his motivation is translating positive emotions to everybody. He tries and goes again, and he wants to score a goal. He's ruthless in training, in every single action. And the more players and staff you have to add to that, at the end, that gets translated to what happens on the football pitch. And over time, you will be stable. Gabby's pressing brings something different to the team, and we need players like him. You didn't play him too much when he was fit, so I hope to see you utilizing him a bit more in that regards. People once said my phone is about to die, and it's going to die right on time when I've actually finished speaking about that. So I'll be back in a second, people. Well, I'm actually still here. My charger is just here. So yeah, man, what are you lot's thoughts going into the game? Who should play and who shouldn't? Would you name a majority of a young side? Would you name older players? What would you lot do, people, going into this game? Let me take a few questions. You're right, Aubameyang needs a rest. Aubameyang doesn't play for me. You know, I hear the confidence thing, but he saves his legs for me. The best way he can get confidence is having a positive performance in a North London derby on Sunday. You know, you're right, we should play the youngsters. You know, we're pressed in terms of injuries and there is a lot of fatigue. Let's get the likes up, people. Big up Sky to Rush, another one of the members in here. Please, let's get the like button up, man. Big up the 90 odd people in the chat. I think it's a bit of both. I think we've collectively, I think we've tried to do too much and we've not changed enough. So yeah, man, we'll have to see what happens in that regards. Big up yourself, Hamid. You know, our centre mids don't score enough. We don't get enough goals from wide areas. You know, not enough man chip in enough. Not enough man chip in. So we'll have to see what happens, man. I would love to see Smith Rowe play tomorrow. You know, Ben saying I'd mix the players young and old. You know, Anthony is saying the young side, of course, with a few experienced players to provide leaderships. Tabs is saying I'd play all the young players. Mr. Adlib 23, another member, big up yourself, is saying he'll play the young ones. Lewis is saying use this game to prepare for Spurs because we've already qualified, you know, puts it there. Adrian is saying Hayland FC play the Hayland youngsters, you know, they'll all be chomping at the bit. I think they'll all learn a lot because they're playing against a strong side that's in a bit good run of form. So we'll have to see what happens. That's also something I think as well, especially in the final third, make it less complicated. It's a mixture. I think the squad is bad, but I do think Arteta has to face some of the music. Smash the like button, people. I don't think Balogun will start. I think you'll see Lacazette or Eddie, but I would like him to start. This is it. You know, I'd give it. It comes down to personal pride. Comes down to personal pride, and that's why I say in my videos, and I know you've heard me say it, Maverick. You know, they need to play for themselves. Of course, I'd love these players to play for Arsenal, to play for the fans, to play for the badge. But before you can do all of that, you need to play for yourself. And if you don't want to play for yourself, if you don't want to put respect in your own performance, then you ain't going to respect me as a fan. You don't know me from nowhere. You're not going to respect the club car. This ain't your club. You don't pay. You didn't buy the club. You didn't support the club. So it's a bit of a dodgy one. Smash the like button, people. I would love to get 30K before the end of by 2021. Don't think that can happen, but a man can try. So yeah, man. You know, hopefully it's a victory tomorrow. Hopefully we can get 3 points, people. Couple more questions, or if not, I'm going to keep it moving. I don't think there's any questions to have. So Ibrahim has said, you think Chambers can play that right centre-back role like Tierney so Pepe can get tighter like Oba on the right? I don't think the two are interlapped, but I do think he could really and truly. If you ask him if he can play the right-hand side in a back three, of course. CT has said, salute Deluded. The work rate is phenomenal. If our players had your heart, passion, and work ethic, top four would have been a certainty. Stay blessed, King. Thank you very much for your moving words and words like that. When I feel nobody's watching, when I feel it's pointless doing this, these sort of things keep a guy going. So it means a lot. Maverick has said, how much do you think fans will play a part in the game tomorrow? Well, it'll be the first time fans can actually be in the stadium. And I know Arsenal fans aren't allowed this, but you would imagine... You know, you'd imagine that they do play some part. You'd imagine we do something, you know. You'd imagine that they get behind the team. The fat players have been missing that. Camera doing you dirty today, bro. Blurry. If I'm blurry, I apologize. Am I blurry, people? I'm using the same exact camera. Well, using the same exact StreamYard and the same exact thing I was using in the last live stream. So I don't know if that's a personal problem or not, but it is what it is. Of course, I'm back in the gym. I went today before these live streams, and I love it. It was an empty gym as well. I think it's a given that Tierney and Gabriel play. I think Tierney's more likely to come off the bench. Hopefully, that's not a thing. Okay, so I'm not blurry. So it might be a personal problem, Adrian. It might be a personal problem. And like you said, Sadrek, it is a good opportunity for him to play around with things and see what he can do. But we'll have to see. We'll really have to see. On that note, though, I'm going to get out of here, man. There isn't nothing more to speak about, you know, so make sure you're signed up to the live stream for tomorrow. I say signed up, I mean hit the reminder button. Comments are in the descriptions. Everything is there. If not, just head over to the community tab. It's all there. Make sure you hit the reminder, people, because, you know, it's a watch along from 7 p.m. Make sure you go and check out my other videos, especially the other live I've done. But I'm going to get out of here, man, and leave you lot with the rest of the afternoon to do whatever you are doing. On that note, DG, I'm out. Take care, everyone.